I'll just make an announcement. We're having to deal with some technical difficulties. And because we record this online, we try to fix those things before we start. Do I need to make an announcement or is it fixed?
I think we're good.
Okay. Renee? Good? Okay. Welcome, welcome. Thanks everybody for being here tonight to October 14th, 2025 City Council meeting. Ask you to please silence all your cell phones. And if, Joy, would you mind, since you're the guest of honor, would you like to lead us in prayer?
Thank you for bringing everybody here tonight and be with the city council and be with them and give them wisdom and guidance and do your will and just bless the city and just thank you for all you've done for us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. If you'll please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is my great pleasure to ask former Councilman Joey Parsons and his family to please come forward. We're going to be honoring our council member, Joey Parsons. And if you guys want to come out front and bring all the presents. So I just want to say, in recognition and appreciation, we are here honoring Councilmember Joey Parsons for his service and dedication to the city of Graham. Whereas Councilmember Joey Parsons was first elected to the City of Graham Council on December 14th, 2021, and served with distinction. And whereas during his tenure on the council, Joey has championed many initiatives for the betterment of this community, including improvements in infrastructure, parks and recreation, public safety, economic development, community outreach, and fiscal responsibility. And whereas he served on various committees and commissions, providing leadership, vision, and constructive dialogue, and has always been willing to listen to constituents, stakeholders, and fellow council members. And whereas his integrity, professionalism, and commitment to public service have been exemplary and have earned the respect and admiration of the citizens and residents of Graham. And whereas the council recognizes that Councilmember Parsons' contributions have made a lasting difference in the quality of life and future prospects for this community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Graham City Council hereby expresses its heartfelt gratitude to Councilmember Joey Parsons for his years of devoted service to this community and acknowledges his leadership, his dedication, positive impact on civic life, and commends him for a job well done, presented this 14th day of October, 2025, signed Jennifer Talley, the mayor. And let's see what we got here.
This is what the city staff did this for you and mounted it for you. So you could have that. Yeah, no, you're missing. This is a rock that a guy in my dad's neighborhood used to always, he would paint a Bible verse on a rock and present it to each person that moved into the neighborhood. He would present a different Bible verse. This one is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's for your new house.
Thank you.
Put out there, and you can put that in the bag if you want. You're gonna need more hands.
And this is a print that I had from years ago, and we had it mounted. It's of the courthouse here, and it says Joey Parsons down here at the bottom, Graham City Council 2021-2025, and it is done by the original Jim Hayes, and it is the county seat here. So we hope you enjoy that. And then this right here is another print that we're giving you for your new home. And it has the Nix building on it and the Arts Council building, the Captain White's house, the clock, the city clock, and this down here is Providence Church. And this was done by Weldon Jenkins, another famous artist here in Graham. So it's presented there to you as well. Yeah, get all the decorating done at once. That's what you'd like to say.
I kind of said it last time. Just thank everybody for the support, and I really appreciate the time that I had here, and it was an honor to be honored tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Can we get a picture? Yeah. Somebody, each person hold on.
I'll let you hold this. All right.
Now read the consent agenda. A, to approve the September 9th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes and closed session meeting minutes. B, to approve closed streets for Graham High School's homecoming parade on October 17th, 2025, from 4:45 to 5:15. The procession will begin at Albright Avenue, proceeding down Main Street, around Court Square, down Pine Street, and conclude at Graham Middle School. C, to approve a special events application to use the sidewalks around downtown for vendors' tents and available parking spaces for food trucks on October 18th, 2025, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the Fall Fest event. D, to approve a budget amendment for $750,000 for insurance reimbursement due to damage at the water treatment plant. E, to approve a budget amendment for $1,600 for insurance reimbursement to replace a damaged John boat at the Graham Mabbin Lake. F, to approve tax releases for $1,087.86. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Was there any questions, any concerns? Anyone here tonight to talk about the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Consent agenda approved. Public hearing 10.1, amend development ordinance, minor subdivisions. A public hearing has been scheduled to consider an amendment to the development ordinance, Article 8, Section 10.3371, to update the existing language regarding minor subdivisions. I'd like to recognize our Assistant City Manager, Aaron Holland.
Thank you, Mayor. And just picking up from where we left off from last month, this text amendment was to address requests of staff and our attorneys to look into ways to increase the number of allowable lots to keep it under a certain threshold for a minor subdivision, while also recognizing that we don't want to put too much of a burden on staff. What we presented tonight basically has two steps to it. The first one is to increase that number from our existing 4 lots to 6 lots. And then a later, if council moves forward with this amendment, a later step of approving in our fee schedule where any lots above 4 would be at the responsibility of the owner / developer to pay for whatever that tap cost would be. So I think based off of what feedback we got from council, we're addressing the concerns that you brought forth from last month.
So what we're trying to do here is make it more attractive to do infill, which is the cheapest kind of development and also the least amount of disruption, I'd say, to existing neighborhoods, and helps build out some of these smaller lots that don't qualify for major, and be able to allow local developers to come in and provide housing here in our community, because it's obviously something that's needed. Do you have any questions, Bonnie?
I do not, but I want to thank the staff for working so hard on this. Thank y'all for being patient with us. I appreciate it.
Okay, and I'm going to open the public meeting. So is there anyone here tonight to talk on this development ordinance, Article 8, Section 10.337? I see a developer in the audience, nothing to say.
Chris Faust, 4990 Highway 62 South. Yeah, I think it's, I mean, you want infill. I mean, this will save a lot of people a lot of time and money, and so this will be approved by staff level. Is that right?
Yeah, so basically where the threshold now allows you to do a minor subdivision with 4 lots or less, this amendment will allow us to go up to 6. Now granted, the lots that are allowed to go and pay the $2,000 for those 4 will still be in play, but anything above that, so if you want to go 5 or 6 lots, those 1 or 2 extra lots will have to be at the burden of the developer, but you're not in that major subdivision threshold with all of those responsibilities that come on that part.
Okay, yeah, I support it.
Thank you. I think it was a happy compromise, because there was some concern before that, you know, if there was a additional lot that maybe you had to like bore under a street or something like that. I mean, that could be very, very expensive, and the developer, you know, would of course want to put that burden on the city, and we don't want that on the city. So this, I think, is a good happy medium, and hopefully it will encourage development of these vacant lots that have sat vacant for years and years because it didn't make monetary sense to develop them. So hopefully that will be a positive thing for Graham. So anybody else? Hearing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion, we close.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm gonna poll the council. You have any questions? Bobby?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I need a motion then to
Madam
approve.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the ordinance amendment to Article 8, Section 10.3371, to amend the development ordinance, update the existing language regarding minor subdivisions.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Go forth and build. Rezoning, 0.61 acre lot and 0.95 acre lot on Wilton Drive. Public hearing has been scheduled to consider the rezoning of 0.61 acre lot and a 0.95 acre lot at the end of the Wilton Drive from R12 medium density residential to R7 high density residential for the purpose of subdividing the lots and potentially building a duplex on each lot. Planning board recommended denial 4-0, and I will recognize Aaron, our Assistant City Manager, Aaron Holland.
All right, thank you, Mayor, and I think you summed it up pretty well. This was on our planning board's agenda last month. They did, recommend denial. As you said, this was a rezoning request from R12 to R7, which is our medium density residential to our high density residential. It does allow for it does allow for the use of duplexes as well as single family homes, which was pointed out at that meeting.
Okay. Does anyone, so this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on the proposed rezoning? Yes, sure. If you'll please state your name and your address for the clerk so she can record it. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. My name is Kristen Faust. I live at 4990 Highway 62 South in Burlington. For this property, we are currently under contract and we're hoping to obtain this approval for this rezoning to develop these two parcels that they've been sitting for years. They've exchanged ownership a few times and they've recently been on the market for quite some time. And at the time, no other offers that I'm aware of besides us. Currently, the street, I don't know if Aaron mentioned this or not, the street on Wilton, it ends, it cuts off. There is no turnaround. The asphalt just dead ends. So we are proposing to come in and extend the utilities and the street section as required that the city will make us for these parcels to make them better accessible and usable, as currently they are not. We are requesting from going to R7 from R12. We feel this would be a good transition zoning request as it's at the end of the street and it's not in the middle. And just to go over some of the comments that were made during the planning board meeting, if I could maybe clarify some of those, that it's not consistent with the area. R7 is residential, and as you guys are aware and Aaron mentioned, that's just giving you an option for a single family or a duplex. We have stated we would like to do a duplex, but just as the street that we get, approved by them, we may just do a single family. And according to the land use category, this area may include duplexes or townhomes in new neighborhoods. There's multifamily zoning just down the corner on Lorraine and Webster. On Florence Street, there's multifamily zoning between an R7 and R12 on each sides, and across other areas in the city that have the same zonings. Some have asked, why not just build 2 homes on this property? Well, why hasn't someone done this already? That's because with the price of the land and the cost of installing the infrastructure to extend the utilities and the street, it just doesn't make sense. You can't make the numbers work. Too much traffic, too many cars per unit. Sometimes if you have a 3 or 4 bedroom house, you could have 5 or 6 people living in there that drive cars. So you could possibly have more cars in a single family home than a 2-bedroom duplex. So I don't think we can make assumptions on that of, how many cars you would be having per unit. Drainage, I think there's some drainage issues out there from one neighbor where water goes around the front and the rear of the house. But, when we get COs or anybody out there, as you know, in the construction, the street department and anybody will have to approve any drainage out there before a CO is issued. We just feel this would be a good transition request. The staff has recommended, even though planning board denied, but we'd like this to make just a nice extension in the area. We've done a lot of work in Graham in the past few years. We own several other properties in the city, and we've enjoyed the working relationship, and we'd like to do more. Thank you, and we're here for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Kristen.
Chris Faust, 4990 Highway 62, good afternoon, council. Yeah, I know I got a target on my back. Anytime we come to these things, we do. But we've done a lot in Graham, Swepsonville, Laurelton Village, and I remember coming up here for Lacey Ridge. And I mean, we got just bombarded. And then a year and a half later, the neighbors was wanting the new new developers around there when they were trying to get a rezoning. I'm sure Rick, you remember to do what we done. We're going to make this nice. And I remember Chandler Village. I mean, I think there's some people in Chandler Village that's speaking against this. I mean, we had the same thing. People didn't want Chandler Village there. It's multifamily townhomes right behind this property. So there is, even though if we do the duplexes, I'm going to do it myself. Personally, we're going to build them, but it's going to be used by right. We're going to get 4 to 5 lots out of it at R12, and then we're going to have to sell it. I won't personally be involved. I'll be doing the developing, but I won't be building the houses. So I just wanted to let you know, if we do get these duplexes approved, that's what I want to do. It will be nice. But if we go in there, the duplexes will be up for our part. But if we go in and do the 4 to 5 lots, we're just going to sell the lots. I can't, I'm not doing it. I'm just doing the development and selling the lots off. So, and that it's already at R12, we've done the math. We can get 4 to 5 lots.
Have you thought about doing conditional use zoning so that the neighbors could see exactly what would be built? Because I think, just like Kristen saying, maybe some of the developers, some of the neighbors don't know who you are. They can't envision.
It's just it's a lot of money up front to be denied. So
Yeah.
we went that way before. So
Yeah, but I will just say that.
right now, I mean, if we don't get this done like this, we're gonna use by right. We're gonna go in there and put 4 or 5 lots in there and sell it. So just.
You need to maybe explain exactly what that means. I don't know that everybody sitting in here knows what that means.
Well, we're gonna put.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
We know what that means, but I'm just saying when you're saying that.
No, what I'm saying is, when we bought down at Lacey Ridge, we could have put 28 houses in there just by use by right, or I think 26, whatever it was. We chose to do, 12, but we made it nice. We personally own that. It was our stuff. So use by right means, right now it's zoned R12. All we got to do is put the street in, infrastructure in, and it's as long as we meet the R12 setbacks, we're 4 to 5 lots is what we can get. We've already looked at everything. So I know the neighbors are going to be, but this place has been sitting here for a long time.
Explain to them though I can explain what use of right is.
Okay.
Yeah, let him do it.
Yeah.
He can do a little bit.
So basically, all the properties in the city of Graham have a zoning classification. In the case of these 2 pieces of property, they're both zoned R12, which the R is residential, 12 is the precursor of 12,000 square foot lots. So what he's saying is that with the current zoning, he's able to cut out 4 to 5 12,000 square foot lots based on the existing zoning without having to do any changes to the zoning at all. So used by right, he's able to do 4 to 5 12,000 square foot lots.
Okay, so why the need to change the zone if that's already your right to do it?
That's, you can't talk from your seat only because we have it on recording. And so if you'd like to talk, you can.
You want me to answer?
Sure.
Sit down. we're doing it but because if it's financial, you know, it makes more sense. Plus it's ours for 30 to 40 to 50 years instead of for 6 months, you know, and the houses will be, I'm sure they'll be nice, but I will have control if we do the duplexes. They will be personally mine. And
You
mine.
mean to rent?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and, but if the other, we'll just have to, you know, we're just gonna sell it to builders. So,
And you're proposing how many total duplexes on that property?
maybe nine, yeah, so 5 duplexes with R7. Yeah,
Please, we need you to
yeah,
step.
it won't be
to the mic.
townhouses, or we'll let him explain, but
Yeah.
R12 is, be single family home.
Right. Ma'am, we need you to step
Yeah.
up to the mic.
I'm sorry, it's recorded, so it's. Yep, go ahead, ma'am. And if you'll please state your name and your address for the clerk.
My name is Candace Brown, and my address is 2056 Chandler Village Drive. So I think the gentleman was a part of the building process for Chandler Village. And my townhouse, I guess, is 250 feet from where you're proposing building the duplexes. That sounds like the duplexes, if you said 5. So,
You live there somewhere off the cul-de-sac?
yes.
Okay,
So behind my home is just wooded area. And as stated before, it's very quiet. And when I bought the property, that's one of the things that attracted me to it, the isolation and that wooded area. So I'm assuming if the duplexes are built, that wooded area will disappear and the street at Chilton will be extended down or near that area. And I drove back there and that space seems like it's very small or too small to change it from R7 to R,
R12, R7.
R12 to R7.
R12 means 12,000 square foot lot
Yeah,
for that particular home to be built or structure to be built. And R7 is a 7,000 square foot lot, much smaller lot in order to build a structure. So
okay.
you can obviously get more structures if it's zoned R7 than you can if it's zoned R12.
Okay. Well, it doesn't sound very good for that space.
Okay.
That's just my opinion as a new resident in Graham.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
You'll state your name and your address.
I'm nervous.
No, don't be nervous.
My name is Janet Turpak, and I live on 2090 Chandler Village Drive. One of the first things I've noticed about this is that this map is incorrect. Because because I live on one of the back lots there that abuts the line. And if you go to the abutment, there's actually a hedge going along all the way. And there are neighbors, single-family homes in back of us. So I don't even get a good reference as to where you're even talking about. You don't have the street, you don't have the houses across the street from there. So the map is very misleading. And so at this point, I don't even know what to decide on. The other thing is, I've been told
that the housing that will be developed will be rentals. And it is cited, what they're trying to do is get it cited for rentals. They will not be purchased by homeowners per se.
Right.
Let's see. So my question is, the map has to be redrawn before any decisions can be made.
Well, this is a rezoning. Are you, I'm sorry, I guess I'm not understanding your question. What part of the map is incorrect that he had up there before?
The map that we had up there before, I'm on the 2090. So if you're looking at the map, I'm on the top portion where the line is, okay? And it's showing that my townhouse goes up to the line, which is incorrect. There's an entire row of one-family houses there. It is not showing across the street, okay, a street at all. And then it is not showing the other houses on the other side of the street. I don't know where you're at. You're somewhere in the dead end.
Right, this is a Wilton.
We need to go to Chandler Village what is it, Roger Road and what is it, Morris, on the, right on the corner.
So here's Wilton Drive.
I don't care about Wilton Drive.
But that
Aaron.
is where it's located.
Could you put in her address?
And the corner of Moore.
I'm sorry, go to where again?
Rogers and the corner of Moore.
Right, but you're talking about these homes here?
Yes.
The property there that's in question is right here.
Well, that's not what you're indicating on your maps at all.
It is.
Right here. Here's the corner of Rogers and Moore, and here's the homes you're referring to.
Where are you referring to?
Hold on one second, I'm sorry. So if you're looking at Rogers and Moore where you asked me to go, those row of homes, give me 1 second, I'll bring it up.
No, those homes are not what I'm talking about. Go to the original map.
It's right here.
Okay. Can we get that other thing out of the way?
But for point of reference, we're gonna have to show you where we're trying to figure out where you're saying they're not showing the homes.
Okay, go to Chandler Village Drive, which is right off of Moore Street.
Here it is, right here.
Correct. Okay, pretend you're in Chandler Village Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the pointer?
Right here,
Oh, I thought you were gonna put it on the big map.
right here.
Keep pointing that map. Okay. On the right-hand side of that street is where I live. Not there, there's no homes there.
Aaron, could you put her address in on Google Map?
Yeah, I mean, if she's referring to the row of homes she's referring to are these right here. The rezoning request is here.
So how am I 250 feet away?
The letters say the
letter says 250
feet.
Within the,
So as part of our notification, we send out letter notification up to a certain distance so we can make sure that neighbors in the area are aware of any zoning changes
Changes,
that might be
correct.
coming through. So we're doing that to make sure we meet the general statute requirements of notification to neighbors.
but
Ma'am, you still got to come back up to the mic.
come on back. There's a seat warm.
Next time I'll pop that thing. So I see from my space how 250 feet affects my townhouse. So I'm assuming that these new townhomes or duplexes are gonna back up into the area where my townhouse is. I'm at 2056. She's at 2029.
90,
Yeah,
right around the corner, on the
Yeah.
cul-de-sac.
Yeah, if you're in the row here,
Yeah.
if you look where my cursor is, this property here would back up to the homes here. So if you're in any of these row of homes here, having not seen the plan for where the duplexes would potentially go, that property backs up to those homes.
okay, so yeah. If
My,
it-
my question is why are we putting rental units in when we have townhouses and houses in the area?
Available for sale. But my question is, why are you messing up my wooded area that's so quiet?
Ma'am?
That would be my,
Okay,
Okay, so basically now I understand where the location is.
Mhm.
So, but at this point, my concern is now we're looking at, we're not putting up townhouses or whatever term you used, because that seems to indicate that it is more an owner-driven property versus a rental property. So,
so is it your contention that you, as a property owner there, as an established resident, that you would prefer for the developer to, he's saying his two options is to develop it and put houses on there by use of right at R12, or to put duplexes on it that he would own and maintain, and he's local.
we're not looking for duplexes.
Okay.
We're not looking for,
So it's I'm just trying to make sure that
and I'm repeating,
okay, so you're saying that you prefer the R12 as it is now?
as it exists today,
Okay,
yes.
okay, thank you so
And
much.
the other, one last thing, realizing property values will also be affected. That's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. What's your name and your address? Thank you.
Kathy Waldrop Ward, and I live at 214 Aloha Drive, which is the corner of Aloha and Wilton. I moved into this neighborhood when I was 7 years old. It is a very, very stable neighborhood. I still have the same neighbors on this little quiet road that we have always had. It is a very small road. We park on this road. If you put 10 duplexes down there, or 5 duplexes down there with 10 different families and all those cars, I have nowhere else to park. I'm still parking on that street. There's not enough room for 2 cars to get through there. You can't have somebody going this way and somebody going this way at the same time. We're used to that because we're the neighbors, and we've always dealt with that. Wilton is not very wide. It's not going to handle all this traffic.
You
It
know
is
how wide the
going to
road
be a
is?
mess.
You know what wide the road is?
No, I don't. But if it goes into an extension of that road, I mean, we would have to look to it to be to the city standard. So, and that would be a step in a review that would come later.
Yeah, but they're not gonna widen the existing road.
And I'm still going to park there because I don't have another place. If I park in my front yard, you'll come fuss at me. So I'm still going to park on that road because I only have one driveway, and we have parked on that road since I was 7 years old. I can tell you where my dad parked his truck forever.
Ma'am, I believe you.
We have the same neighbors down there. That field was a garden for years. That's the reason it's never been developed, because Mr. Paget owned it. He refused to sell any of the tracts to Graham to cut the road through. They used it as a community garden. The ground is very soft, not to mention the swamp and the pond that was back there. So it's always been something that the community used. Unfortunately, they passed away and the kids sold the land, and that's why we're in this position. But here's my question. I have a house, the neighbors have a house, we have neighbors over here, they're all single dwelling houses. If this was in your backyard, would you want rental property stuck back there? Because I don't want the people coming and going and being noisy. I'm up at 3 o'clock every morning. I'm gonna be calling the police every day if they're making noise back there. I have to be over at South Graham at 6 o'clock to open up the school every morning. Would you want rental property in a very quiet, established neighborhood? Do you
Well-
want to tear that up?
I'll say my personal position is and has always been since I've been elected, is that new development has to bow to existing development. I've always been of the mindset that our comprehensive plan, which is passed, and we got a lot of public input and, feedback from our community when we develop these different zones, and this is suburban residential, that it will be, the principal use of suburban residential would be predominantly attached single-family homes. So, I mean, my position on
So
that
put the
is-
single-family homes back there and stop threatening us that you're not going to be the one building them. I don't care who builds single-family homes back there. Obviously, somebody's gonna build back there eventually.
Yeah.
But don't come up threatening us that you're not gonna be the one to build the homes.
So-
Make me think that I can trust you, because I don't.
Yeah, I can just tell you prior councils did not go by this book all the time. To me, like I try to get developers to go do neighborhood meetings. I say, if you want us to change what's in this book, then you need to show me that what we're changing it to, the neighbors and the community is gonna want.
Well, we don't want it.
So, my position, and I don't speak for the whole council, I'm just one person. I have one vote and they all have a vote as well, but, I go strictly by the book. And so, it says specifically in here to maintain, single-family character of neighborhoods, designate, is the new.
But maintain it and put single-family
Yeah.
homes out
The
there.
new development gonna be harmonious with the existing neighborhood?
No.
So, that's my
Ma'am.
personal feeling.
Rental homes in that little bitty field that's down there will not be consistent with the neighbors that have been in this neighborhood forever.
Yep.
We have grown up together. We have stayed there. We have raised our kids there. Our kids are going to come back and stay there. These homes have been very stable homes. The neighbors have been there forever. This is destroying what was a very quiet residential area.
I hear what you're saying.
Well, if I may,
Sure.
please understand, as R12, whether it's Mr. Faust or not, if they put single-family homes in there, if they're in compliance with the zoning, R12,
Mhm.
you said how many homes?
But they'll be owner bought, not rental.
Not
It's
necessarily.
not going to be people coming in and out and in and out and in and out. And I know he says he does nice stuff and he can maintain them or whatever, but you can't tell me in a couple of years, he's still going to be paying attention to that because he's going to move on to somebody else's neighborhood to tear up.
Well, I'm just saying, ma'am, that's,
I mean, that's the way it works.
I mean, he
He'll
can withdraw
hang around with
his,
us for a while and then he'll be gone. And we'll
There's
have the
noth-
police coming in and out because there'll be whatever down there.
ma'am, there's nothing that guarantees that you make it R12, somebody builds homes, that they don't turn it into a rental.
Exactly.
Okay, but that's one home. You think all of them are going to be rentals? And if it is, the rent on a house is a lot more than the rent on a duplex. So you're going to get more
Yep,
of a
again.
family there that's going to want to stay,
I'm
not
just saying,
somebody coming in and out. We don't need an open door down there. Wilton is not big enough for that. And again, it's been this quiet neighborhood for this long. The planning board understood what we were saying.
Mm.
And I'm in absolute support of them.
thank
Okay,
you very much.
Thank you.
And Mayor, I just did a quick GIS measurement. It's a 25-foot wide pavement out there.
I'm shaking because I'm not used to getting in front of people, but I think this is important.
Oh,
My name's
you're
Anita
fine.
Hunter.
You're fine. We're residents just like you are.
I'm Anita Hunter, and I live at 216 Wilton Drive.
Okay?
And that is concerning to me, is the fact that how homes are all around. On the other, we've always considered that a field because it's not that big. And on the other side, there's nice townhomes. And then our neighborhood across the other, on the other side on Wilton. And to think that we will have renters, duplexes, because they were saying 5 duplexes, so that's 10. You say 2 cars to each duplex, you're talking about 20 cars going in and out. And you know, what kind of people are you going to get with rentals on duplexes? And our neighborhood has always been a nice neighborhood, and we hadn't had any trouble, and that it's just very concerning. And Jim Young, he is going to get my vote. He came down there and looked at it, and he said this would be crazy. And I told him, I said, you got my vote, buddy. That's what I've been trying to say. And that picture that was up there looking down the road a while ago is very misleading, because that is a short road. That is not a long road. And Kathy, their driveway is real short. That's the way the house was built. She has no other place. She can put 1 car in her driveway. So see, that's very misleading. That road is a lot shorter than that. And like I said, the field, we've always just called it a field because it is not that big over there. When you show it that way, it looks like it's big, but it's not.
Yeah.
So I beg y'all, please, 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 do not rezone it.
You don't mind if he develops it, you just prefer to have homes?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you so much for coming and
Thank you.
speaking tonight. Anybody else that would like to speak?
Hello, good. I'm
Good
Vaisha
evening.
Edwards. I live at 2066 Chandler Village. I just felt like I should say something because it does affect where I live. I live directly, this like right behind me. I've been living there for almost 5 years now, and like my other neighbor said, it's really quiet there. I mean, clearly they're gonna build something, but I just felt like I should say something. I would prefer it not be, because it is quiet over there. So that's gonna make construction noise, and I have children, so, but I just felt like I should say something for my neighborhood and my community. So,
Would you prefer it to be homes?
of course, because that will affect the value of our homes, probably the property tax over there, and all of that. I'm not sure, but you know, definitely the quietness for sure for a while, for however long it takes to build. So, but that's all.
Aaron, can you bring it up and show the street again?
Yeah, I'm like right on that.
There's no, the thing and I actually did ride out there. In this area, there's no, sidewalks or anything. How does the bus, like,
Walk to the end of the road. They pick up on.
Oh,
so I guess that's my question is,
Second, I think that was part of, if they were to put in an extension of that road to allow those properties in the back to be developed, part of that would require that they do a cul-de-sac at the back end.
And, ma'am, you've got to come back up to the mic.
And I don't know what that will do as far as crime or anything. I mean, of course, I hope not, but that is a concern when thinking about renters, like she said, people coming in and out of, and we own our houses over there. So it's like, that's really just my concern. But again, something's gonna be put there. So
But you prefer for it to be homes?
I would prefer that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Trash and recycle have no problem getting down that road to get to us. All the neighbors put the trash cans and the recycles on the same side of the street. And all they do is back up, pick them up, and pull out. It has never been a problem. We are all retired or close to retired. So there are no school-age children on Wilton right now. You put duplexes down there with renters, we probably will have children in those duplexes that'll have to be picked up by the bus. And my guess would be the school system would probably make the bus stop at the top of the road.
Well, that wouldn't be good if, because there's A, no sidewalks, and B, if there's cars parked on the curb, children would have to be walking down the middle of the road
You're right.
to get to the end. That's the problem that they have at Raleigh Meadows too.
Yep. You're right.
Yep. It's a real safety concern because it's like 2 miles in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even if they build a cul-de-sac down there, it's not going to be big enough for a bus to turn around in. It takes a lot of space for that bus to flip itself around.
But the trash truck can.
The trash truck backs down the road, empties the trash, and comes back, it drives itself back out. So does recycles. The 3 houses that put their trash and recycle out, put them on the same side of the street where they know the truck is going to be able to just pick it up and dump it. So the neighbors work to make that a lot easier. We know how to handle the trash and the recycles, and then the truck just leaves.
Okay.
I spend every day of every moment that I am awake these days teaching social emotional learning at South Graham. I am constantly trying to teach these kids how to be respectful and kind. This is not respectful nor kind. So we don't need this.
Mayor and city council members.
Sir.
I'm Gary Fritz from 2032 Chandler Village. And I have to say, I'm against the R7 zoning as well. I grew up in Mebane, was born and raised there. I'm an Alamance County resident. Moved away, I've lived in 3 different countries. Then when I came back to the States, came back home to Alamance County. And first moved to Mebane. But once Mebane started all the development, it's like, we've got to get out of here. So we found a place at Chandler Village. Like my neighbors have said, is quiet. We all take care of each other at Chandler Village. And it's home. Graham is home now. And one thing that I've really enjoyed about Chandler Village is the quietness, is the peacefulness. And with putting rental units in so close to our property, that's going to be taken away. And it's like, I'm getting too old to keep moving. And so, I was hoping to spend retirement years at Chandler Village. That's where we're happy at. So anyway, I just wanted to put my 2 cents worth in.
You're fine with the development of homes?
Single family homes, I'm fine with. But again, I have concerns over there being rental units in that close of proximity to Chandler Village.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you so much for your time. Hi, ma'am.
Good evening. Lynn Smith, also from Chandler Village Drive, 2098. And my husband and I went back behind our house trying to figure out where this lot was because we could not picture it from the map. And we went, oh, it's this little field on the end of a very narrow road with no way to move around as far as big construction vehicles or a school bus or whatever. I realize that development needs to happen. There are people coming into this wonderful area. I did myself from Durham. But we have a small community on Chandler Village. We have several units that are available for rent right now. I'm sorry, that are available for ownership. And they've stood empty for a bit. So I'm a bit concerned about how much of a market there is for rental homes right there in the area, which means in my mind that this new construction may remain empty for a while. But when it is filled with the proximity of all of those units together, people having multiple vehicles because of jobs and other kinds of aspects of their life, I cannot imagine that traffic going down Wilton Road. And I really can't imagine the noise behind Chandler Village with the larger number of families being in these duplexes. So I join my neighbors in being in favor of single-family homes if that's what we need to have, one or the other. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for coming. Sure.
Thank you.
This is just a preliminary kind of drawing just for aesthetic purposes to kind of see what we're guessing we could put in there, assuming it would have to be approved by TRC or staff for an extension, but showing you how the possibility of the division. I want to just make just a couple points as a follow-up. And, you know, we're not here. We want to do something nice. Our name's attached to this. We're originally from Graham. He grew up in Graham. But this land has been here for years. We're proposing to come in and make it better, add an extension, make a turnaround for the city, you know, for emergency vehicles, trash pickup to make it easier. And my understanding that this has been offered to the neighbors years ago when it was first sold and nobody wanted it. I don't think it's fair to discriminate against kids living in properties and the kinds of people, quote, that could live in duplexes. You know, we've got some fine people that live in our duplexes now, some older couples. We've had no issues that we
I've seen your duplex.
of the
There's-
rentals
they're-
or company. We have reached out to Grand Police to see if there's been any reports at any of our properties, and there's been none. They do strict background checks, criminal history, things like that. And the rent is a sizable rent on a 2-bedroom duplex, close to $1,400 per unit. Which part? Close to $1,400. 2-bedroom.
Let's-
As far as parties and loud noises, again, guys, I just don't think it's fair we can judge people that live in a townhome or duplex. Some people just don't want the maintenance of home ownership and they choose to go this route. And that's good for cities to offer options. And you know, we would plan to come in here and create a good community, just like Chandler Village, just like the ones that these guys live in. So I just don't think it's fair to make assumptions like that on the kinds of people who live in different properties. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Could I ask you a quick question? You had mentioned something about a drainage problem on that land. So would that affect the number of homes you could put there as an R12 because of drainage issues or?
Well, I'm not sure. At this property, one of the neighbors that the planning board meeting had mentioned drainage up on his end
Okay,
that came around his property, which disperses onto this property.
okay.
So we would have to treat, but we're in the grading utility business and we've got an engineer to work with on this. Everything's got to be approved drainage wise by the city and the street department. before
And
anything.
Chandler Village is not much bigger than this, and it was a hole. When we got to it, it was, I don't know if anybody remembers it, it was a hole. But I'm sure the people in Wilton remember it. And most of the people in here are against this or living in townhomes. You know, I just don't understand it, but it will be nice when we get done. Single family, that looks like what's gonna go. We're gonna make it work, but we will handle the water. We always.
Could you, show us where you have one of your duplexes now?
On Washington
Got
Street.
some on Washington Street, right behind Steve's Garden Market.
And Steve's Garden Market.
Aaron, could you pull that up?
Y'all need these drawings back or you want us to keep them?
I got one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a way for you to show what Chandler Village will lose when these duplexes or houses are built? So right now, behind my townhouse and, my neighbor's townhouse, it's a nice, there's cleared space and then there's a wooded area. Is there a way to show if all of that will be removed?
The clearance gonna look like, because, yeah, you have to do the engineering on that to know what space you're gonna need. I mean,
Well, I need it all.
I don't think they're at that point yet to be able to answer that.
Is there any there's no buffer, is there though?
There is right now.
No, I know there is now, but I'm saying no buffer requirement.
From residential to residential,
No, they can clear it all the way down,
Oh.
all the way to his property line. That has nothing to do with us. That's just, I mean, it's his property. He can take it down. I always try to encourage developers to build with the land, to try to keep established trees and mature trees. I think that you have a lot less runoff and erosion control, obviously, when you do that. So, you know, but developers sometimes will go in and just strip build because it's easier for them to, just go in and regrade everything and it's just completely, and then plant these little bitty sticks, I say. They look like little sticks. So, I mean, I always try to encourage the neighbors to work with a developer that's bought a piece of property, be cordial, tell them what what you want, certainly, and say, we'd prefer to have homes rather than duplexes. We'd love it if you'd leave a barrier between that development and our development and try to work with the developer. He's a local person. He's from Alamance County. I think his feelings have been pretty hurt tonight. I know neither one of them want to make anybody mad.
Well,
But you saw the duplexes. They're not run down or anything like that. And in the particular neighborhood that they were in, they probably look nicer than anything over there, back behind Steve's. Can you pull those up for just a second, what Bobby wanted to see?
but I think there is a
I don't
house.
think he's a bad, developer or anything like that.
No, I wasn't trying to throw shade on him.
Yeah.
I love my space.
I know, I
Um,
just think, people, and that's why we always that's why I asked him early on, if you're going to do something that's gonna be completely different in a neighborhood, to try to allow some different housing options, in my personal opinion, it's always better to meet with the neighbors ahead of time, show them exactly what you're gonna do, so that you don't have people coming and, just like afraid of, they're in their mind is imagining the worst things. I mean, these are not unattractive. But certainly if the majority of the residents want homes there, it's already zoned R12. That is well within your right to advocate for that. And, but let's not, he's gonna be developing there, so to me, if I lived there, I would be trying to make him, see my point of view, but also ask him to work with us on buffer zones and things like that. And if you say there's really nice trees and foliage and stuff, for him to just clean up the brush and stuff, but to leave the mature trees. And he's a local developer. He used to go out when you develop land and you used to tag trees to say, keep these trees. And now you see these tract builders come in and it's just gone. And,
Well, the HOA does a great job of keeping the trees trimmed and looking great. And I think there too is a house, an incomplete house or trailer behind my townhome. So I don't know whose issue that is, but if they, I'm just concerned about them just taking all the greenery away, putting a bunch of cement down and bringing 9,000 duplexes where there'll be 20 million more people.
There's nothing to stop any property owner, if they put these lots on the ground, there's nothing, once you buy the property, you could clear cut it. There's nothing we can do about it.
I wish there was, because I don't agree with that myself, but, yeah, we don't have the ability to be able to, we don't have the legal authority to prevent somebody from doing that, so.
I will compliment that these.
Do unto your neighbor as you would have them do unto you, so just try to be good to one
I
another.
want to
And
compliment the gentleman on these duplexes. They are wonderful little duplexes, okay? My issue is not necessarily how pretty the duplexes are. My issue is the actual sales value of the houses and townhouses, Chandler Village Drive. Now, I realized you did indicate that everybody was against Chandler Village Drive. But Chandler Village Drive has managed to drive up the prices from all the streets around it. Okay? Okay?
You're helping me out here.
No, I'm not helping you out because Chandler Village Drive, okay, they kept it to a minimum. There's 22 homes.
2.5 acres.
Doesn't matter. Okay, there are 22 homes built to bring the economy and the neighborhood up. Okay,
So y'all be open for town?
no. No, because you're talking about rentals. You're talking about.
No, town.
We would gladly
We
do
would
townhomes
gladly do townhomes.
if we could get multifamily,
See there?
just like
It don't-
Chandler Village.
You don't want nothing back there. I understand it, but, and y'all just changed the.
Well, it's not just us in Chandler Village, although there are quite a few of my neighbors.
Yeah, there's more here than there is on the
I think we should have took a van here. But the issue is the other people that have been
Ma'am,
in their homes for
ma'am.
that.
You need to direct your questions to
Okay.
us.
So at this point, I'm concerned about the value of the homes.
Oh.
And at this point, we have a dead market because the value of the homes has trickled down.
And
We're flat. We
Okay.
are flat. The whole nation is flat. So at this point, I wouldn't want to change the area just because there's a small area of land that you can throw some rentals on. I want to maintain the neighborhood.
Okay, well, he's given another option. He's done another option. Is there anyone else that would like to speak that hasn't already?
I'm sticking with the first option of 12,000 with single homes.
Okay. Is there anyone that hasn't spoken that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Jim Lautenschlager, I live at 215 Wilton Drive, Graham. And I'm the one who said about the drainage, the smaller lot of the two is the one that floods. And needless to say, all the water from that neighborhood comes down into that field. It used to be a pond, now it's nothing but, it's almost like a marsh. You walk in there and you can sink down into that lot anytime about 6 inches. And if they build that lot up, then all that water is gonna stay on my property. Unless they're gonna put some kind of drainage system all the way around my yard. Cause the last hard rain we had, I had 8 inches in my basement because all the water comes off the neighbor's yards into mine.
Yeah.
I'm the lowest house on the road. So that's a big concern for me if all that water keeps coming down there. When I moved in, I had the city put a drain there right beside my property where all the water drains from the whole neighborhood down there into that drain and out into that field. And that field is actually lower than my house. So if they build that up, that water's not gonna have any place to go. And there's a lot of probably trees in there that are 50 or 60 years old. And that part of, if they take if they take those down, that whole field will probably just wash away. Cause that's the only thing that's holding the dirt in there in any way right now. And I'd like to see the little drawing that he gave you of a tentative of what they thought they would be doing.
Or regardless of it, or how they build it, any water coming onto that property, they have to capture it and move it somewhere else.
They can't create a liability, a flooding issue. And sure. Is that okay? And
That's all I got to
so
say.
you prefer the R12 in the homes?
Yeah, I'd rather have, the single family homes.
Okay.
That goes with the neighborhood right now. That's it, where this is, the extension of our road is. That would go with the houses that are already there and existing. Thank you.
And so anybody that hasn't spoken tonight, I think, we've heard from everybody, that wants the homes versus the duplexes. And so I need a motion to close the public hearing.
And may I make a motion we close?
Here, a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I go to Bonnie.
Well, as you know, I'm not a fan of approving something that doesn't fit in with the existing neighborhood, because I always feel like, I always put myself in that situation. How would I feel?
Mhm.
If this were coming into where I bought my house, So, I know, and it's no insult to the builders, because I know they're very, very good at what they do. The developers are. But that's just how I feel, is that I don't feel, I would hate to see it go down to R7 and have that kind of density
Yep.
right behind all these R12 homes. So that's my comment
Okay,
at this point.
go ahead.
Well, after hearing the neighbors talk, and I have to agree that the idea of single-family ownership is important, you know, it's one of those things that we all hope that everyone has the opportunity. So I'll agree that, you know, taking that into consideration, it's, you know, we listen to our constituents. We appreciate what you propose. But it seems that the, residents do not agree with what you're proposing. But again, you have the option. It is R12. It's your property. You know, so you can pursue whatever decision you would like to make.
Ricky?
Well, I think, what, Mr. Powell's, originally proposed is. Yeah, okay. I think what Mr. Faust proposed, with the duplexes, makes as much or more sense than the R12. One person spoke about cars. Even if we do an R12 subdivision there, you're still looking at adding somewhere between 20 and 24 cars to the street. And we can't stop that. So, you know, be that understandable. I've always been an opponent of downgrading, but I think this is one of the areas that we should consider the R7.
So,
Speaking in the microphone as much as I can.
He said that he thought it was one of the areas that we should consider R7. That's what he said.
so I'll just say, that, I know the developer, he's a local developer. I do think, you know, the properties that he builds are very well received by the community. But I always feel that, you know, and this is kind of what I go by with this growth management plan. I'm very much in favor of protecting neighborhoods. One of the main reasons I ran and was elected, certainly why Joey ran and was elected, and other council members on here, was to protect established neighborhoods. I kind of usually am always the holdout because I really feel like that person's largest investment, financial investment, is their home. And, you know, I feel like, you know, it's not fair to them to put something other than when they bought that home, they knew that that lot might be developed one day, but in their mind, it would be developed for R12. And I didn't hear a single person today say that they minded him doing R12. Obviously, people would always like for stuff to stay the way it is when they bought it, but they seem to all be very understanding to do that. And I appreciate the developer being willing to be flexible and say that he'd be willing to, you know, put the R12 homes in there. That's clearly what the neighborhood wants. I'm very much about that if there's going to be new development, that it needs to be harmonious with the existing neighbors. I have been definitely a champion about the road widths. It's crazy to not have sidewalks, not have wide roads, and then expect to have all this development behind that established road that maybe when it was put in 25, 30 years ago was to standard, but would not have been to standard had you known that future development was going to bring, hundreds of homes later on. That's what happened to poor Joey. Joey was at the end of a road, and it was just a very narrow road that was, and then this big, huge development developed behind him and didn't have any other access, and turned basically those little residential streets into thoroughfares. And, you may think, well, just 5 duplexes, but 5 duplexes times, 20 cars, and I think DOT estimates 6 trips a day. So you got 120 trips extra a day going down that residential street that has cars parked on the side of the road because you just have single car driveways. So you've got all these cars doing this going down the road. So I don't think the road is built to a standard that really welcomes, I guess, additional growth on that road. So, I have concerns about that the character of that neighborhood everywhere around it is R12. So I'd prefer to see it, if it's not a hardship on the developer, for it to remain R12. That's my personal opinion. I'm always going to stand up for the citizens and what they want. We're all here as advocates for the citizens. And so, unfortunately, when people built developments years ago, they couldn't have foreseen that Graham was going to grow like it has. And so we have to really be very careful about what we approve and what we allow to come in there, and be very conscientious of what of a drain that's going to be on our utilities and everything else. Graham's going to grow because the cost of living in Raleigh and Durham and all our surrounding areas is exponentially higher than our area. And we're 30 cents per 100, and everybody else is more than double that. So around us in these larger cities. So, we have to just try to, that's one of the things we're doing with the infill. We're trying to be able to make development something that it's not a big strain on our infrastructure. I mean, Mebane has grown at an exponential rate, and when they had a natural disaster just recently, you saw they had no water. It was a very challenging time for them. And when businesses start shutting down and restaurants start shutting down, industry starts having to shut down, and you're 24 hours away from toilets not flushing, it is a very scary proposition. So we have to be very careful about making sure, and I will say that's one thing that we have done a really good job of. We had no water restrictions here in Graham. We were able to handle that disaster. And our Public Works Director and our Lady Tanya Mann, who's over our water, sewer, and our water department, was able to keep water flowing here in Graham, and I'm exceptionally proud of that and what our city manager did. But when you have a huge amount of development happening at one time, you have to take this infrastructure serious. And so I appreciate that you're going to take a lot that hadn't been developed and put it on the tax scrolls, and I do think it will increase property values over there. But I'd like to see that done with R12. So I think we're ready to take a vote. And I'll make the motion. I move to Deny the rezoning request of 0.61 acre lot and 0.95 acre lot at the end of Wilton Drive from R12 medium density to R7 high density for the purpose of subdividing the lots and potentially building a duplex on each lot. The rezoning, in my opinion, is not consistent with the Graham 2035 Comprehensive Plan and the Graham Development Ordinance, and it would not be consistent with the current land zoning and land use plan for the goal of building a structure on the lot. Rezoning the property would not be consistent with the suburban residential type and furthers and further the property would not be and furthers policy 2.2.1, 4.3.1, 5.1.1, and 5.2.1 as put forth in the Graham 2035 Comprehensive Plan. I think this development, if rezoned, would cause excessive traffic and parking issues on that road. I think it would not be consistent and harmonious with the existing neighborhood, which has single-family character. And I believe it's not consistent with the suburban residential principal use of predominantly detached single-family homes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay. And like to call for a recess to take a break. Could we do that while we clear out the auditorium?
I
Okay.
second your motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Stand in recess for 10 minutes.
Totally understand. Totally get it.
Thank you for coming out tonight, man.
That's what, that's why. You're welcome, you know?
Is it pretty good place to eat?
And you're talking about, property values going down. In our subdivision, we sold. Sold originally. We're gonna get free now.
What, where I sit in, that looks like something else. I'm just waiting.
Hey, that is my igloo, it is not.
Sure, hey, whatever.
No.
They're talking about. Right. Buddy, they. They got four. Got their problem.
Always had water. When I needed water. I was thinking, I was in full water. I wouldn't know. I could drive. See, and I could drive. What else I learned today? I could get down there and just check on stuff. See, I felt. I took a few gallons of water back in the day. I don't know Mr. Okay, what? And all the. Living in town still. Here, so I'm gonna come over here. Nothing to hide. Nothing to hide. I'm gonna sit here. You guys up here with the cities.
This shouldn't take that serious. Yeah.
Yeah, this is community flashbacks. Every other. Honor. Very contentious, come back. Then what you got? Chucky is.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ward, it's nice to see you tonight. It's good to see you tonight.
Go next week, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gotta have you there. Gotta move it.
Yeah, we do. We do.
But they don't put it.
Yeah.
Or they even saw it.
Yeah.
That's why I took a picture of it. I called my. That's his way. I might be right about that. So, some. Pretty impressive. Thank you. If I get to it. Get it for me. I'll look at it. That's the. Yeah. Anyway, but I'll talk to you. Okay.
A lot of it too.
Okay. Make a motion to come back in session.
Second your motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business amendment 2025-2026 fee schedule, tap fees, minor subdivisions. City council will consider amending the 2025 tap fee schedule, page 23, notes to reflect the burden of any additional taps for a minor subdivision and more than 4 lots will be responsibility of the owner developer. Recognize our assistant city manager, Aaron Holland.
All right, thank you, Mayor. And as I spoke on this with the text amendment earlier, this is the second part to making the change that will allow for us to increase that number from 4 to 6, and those any additional lots above that 4 would be at the responsibility for those taps to be put in by the developer, and it's addressed in the fee schedule. So that's why we had to do them separate. So this is the second part to that text amendment.
Okay. Do I hear any discussion? Hear a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the amendment to the fee schedule regarding taps exceeding 4 lots to be the responsibility of the owner or developer.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I really like this amendment, Aaron. Thank you for your hard work on doing this.
Yeah, you did a great job.
The attorneys were helping me all the way, so.
But it allows us to be able to do that development, but also doesn't put us on the hook for
For the cost.
something that is going to be excessively expensive to the city that in the past they've been paying for. Yep, they had to eat it. So it's glad we addressed that. Okay, Graham Regional Master Plan.
Good evening,
Master Plan.
Mayor Talley and members of the city council. I'll go ahead and jump in here while they're getting their presentation loaded. The item before you tonight does not require any action. You will receive, you have received via email, and it has been published on social media, the website, and other areas, the most recent draft of the Graham Master Plan. Withers Ravenel was the selected consultant. They've been working over the last year, getting feedback, holding community meetings. So you have 2 representatives before you tonight. Kristen Herndon and Michael Alderman are here to go over the draft as it stands. We would request that City Council provide any feedback from the master plan between now and December. The goal is to bring this back to City Council in December for possible adoption. So with that, I'll turn it over to them.
Great. Thank you, guys. Good evening, Mayor Talley, council, and staff. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. This project is especially meaningful to me. I had the privilege of working for the city of Graham earlier in my career, and I was directly involved in securing grants, acquiring land. I can still remember Brian Fawcett and I going out and tagging trees for hours on end, to try to figure out which trees we wanted to save specifically for this park. So to now be a part of shaping its future through the master plan, it's incredibly special. So tonight we'll walk you through the planning process, the timeline, our site analysis, the extensive community engagement that we did as well, and then also the concept plans that led us to the draft master plan that you have before you tonight.
Thank you, Kristen. I'm Michael Olderman. I'm a registered landscape architect. Maybe I'll go on. With us Ravenel. I'm a Raleigh resident. And yeah, really excited to present the plan. I recognize some faces throughout the community engagement process. So I just want to say, really appreciate you being along for the ride and giving us input at each of the community meetings. So we feel like it's been a park staff and community driven process. And we're really excited to share the draft plan with you tonight. So just give a quick timeline update, and maybe I can just slide this. So just to give a quick overview of our process. So this is a pretty typical process for a master plan development. We go through a site analysis phase where we're really gathering all that information, context analysis. We did a site walk with park staff on the property. We review maps and we review the park itself, as well as, existing photographs and old master plans and stuff like that. Then we do a development analysis, and I'll show what that is in a minute, before we get into a community needs assessment. So we hosted 2 community meetings, one at the park and one at Arts Around the Square in downtown Graham, which was both well attended. And then we had an online survey, which went through that whole second step into the third concept program and development phase. So we take all those online surveys about program development and bring that into our concept options. We provided 3 concept options for the community meeting number 3, which was held at Graham Rec Center. And then we opened up another online survey and used all that feedback to create the draft master plan, which we'll present tonight. We also looked at phasing and other things as part of that draft report, which I believe you've maybe seen already. And that brings us to October tonight, where we are presenting to council. So to kick us off, we started with site analysis. We looked at the site context, the adjacent residential land uses, the adjacent school uses to the south and to the east, and really looked at ways that we might be able to bring in those influences into this park design. We also looked at the existing park property. Sure, you've all seen the great playground that's already there, and we just want to build on that community-driven effort as a great catalyst for the development of the rest of the park. So this is I'll scroll down, site analysis. So here we're really showing what's existing on site. So you see the existing park and those existing uses, but also some of the natural features that exist. So there's an existing stream buffer that is adjacent to 2 of these small streams that are already on site. There's a wetland area, but there's also a previously disturbed area, which is attractive for future development. So you'll see when we get into the development diagram that we've identified that this has been disturbed. It's less important maybe than the existing woodlands that's been preserved over time, which makes it right for development. You also see some of the arrows showing those green wildlife vegetation corridors, some of the prevailing winds and adjacent land uses. So here's that development diagram I mentioned, and you can see we started to list things that the land is telling us it can support. So we know it's kind of gently sloping. That can be used for athletic fields, parking, shelters, things that were identified as potential things that the community might want to see in the park. We looked at low areas that might fit for stormwater mitigation that will be required as part of the development of the site, as well as those wooded existing areas that might be suitable for things like hiking trails and biking. I do want to point out there's a section of the property to the northeast, which is not currently owned by Graham, but it sounds likely that it'll be integrated into the whole park master plan. I forgot if I'm supposed to share the mic.
Oh, yeah, we're fine. All right. So as Michael mentioned, and something that you guys harped on Community engagement was at the heart of this process. So we held 3 different public meetings. The first one being at Graham Regional Park. It was alongside an established program already. We had really great attendance there. A bunch of families, parents, and youth. They shared lots of stories, what they envisioned. Kids let us know what they were dreaming of at that park. So that was really fun for us. The second one was during Arts Around the Square, and that helped us reach an even broader audience. And then the third was at the Rec Center, and this was also where we were able to show those 3 concept plans. Additionally, we also met with stakeholder groups. Those stakeholder groups included athletics, inclusion, and trails, whether that be hiking or biking. And then we also conducted 2 online surveys as well. And those surveys gathered over 800 responses combined. And we also included a Spanish language version for accessibility. We'll move on next to the concept plans across
Get
all
back there just
engagement.
a second.
Oh, yeah.
Can you go back up for just a second? Wanted to see, Splash Park seems to be the,
Yes,
the
throughout
most.
the entire process, water elements, especially the splash pad, was mentioned by far the most.
Yeah, and obviously people were really excited about the existing playground and they just want to see more of that. So we saw that sort of rise to the top too. And you can see some of the other things that I think we definitely want to try and integrate into this draft plan.
Yeah, strong support for the splash pad and nature trails, playgrounds. Of course, there's interest in that adventure programming aspect. An amphitheater space, community gardens was mentioned too. But most importantly, there was a balance between active recreation and preserving the natural site. So based on that community feedback from those first 2 processes, we developed the 3 concept plans. And many of you saw those when you came to the recreation center that night. Concept A was athletic heavy. It focused on sports fields, tournaments, courts. Concept B was our balance. So it balanced between concept A and C. It was a mix of athletics and nature-based. And then concept C was more of a nature park, prioritizing passive recreation and environmental features.
Whoops. So I don't know if you caught there that the community engagement process, we got a pretty even spread from those 3 concept options. And what we took from that is, yes, I think the balance scheme, which was the option B, which showed a bit of athletic fields and a bit of nature and more of a cohesive scheme. I think we took that as, well, that's about in the middle point of the athletic scheme and the nature scheme. So we sort of use that as our starting block for the development of the draft master plan. Just in general here, again, as I mentioned, we've got some central fields, a mix of fields, as well as some natural elements, as well as, like you might have seen in one of the options, the amphitheater, which is another amenity feature, which I think would, suit this area well. But I'll just go around sort of clockwise here to sort of talk through some of the decisions that we made during this design. So starting at the existing entry point, so this is, you can see my mouse where you would enter the park now. We're actually suggesting realigning the entry drive. You might remember that it sort of comes down to a low point down here, and you'd have to cross the stream sort of to get across to the other side of the hill. One thing that does is separate the 2 parking areas that are existing. And so if you park at the existing playground now, that's, rubberized surfacing, accessible, but your kids want to go over to the nature play, you have to sort of cross that driveway. And so one thing that this access does is combine those 2 parking areas into one safer parking area where you're not having to cross that busy entry drive. The other thing we did is, this is where we located the splash play. That was one of the things that rose to the top. And this sort of seemed like a great area to combine these playground uses with that splash pad element. as well as the adventure play, which is sort of like bridges and structures integrated into the trees. So again, a more playful experience for kids and teens. And then adjacent to the existing playground, here is our sensory garden. It was one thing we heard from our stakeholders and recreation committee group a lot about how does this, serve the whole public more than just, play fields? How do we make this accessible? How do we make it engaging? One thing that we thought we could do is bring in some sensory gardens for a different type of engagement with nature and play. So this entry drive continues on through. We're showing some public art, maybe some sort of sculpture that brings in an artistic element along that entry drive. And then right bisecting the park would be a second entry point. One thing that would do would provide an egress for big events. So say you've got a big tournament for soccer, it gives cars another way to get out, and also emergency service vehicles a chance to get in. And it's just another sort of monumental entrance to bring people into the park. One thing we heard throughout the community engagement process was this idea of a covered pavilion. So it could host things like outdoor basketball all year round, or a little bit further throughout the year, especially if it's raining. But also it could host things like an arts festival or farmers market and things like that that aren't just sport related. As you go down to the left here, we're showing parking flanking this sort of central area that's sort of the heart of the park, where we're showing two sort of large soccer fields that could be multi-use, could be football, could be frisbee, whatever you want to play out there. A meadow area, and then an amphitheater which has like a band shell and a restroom facility. On the east side here, we've got more parking. Again, we've got a variety of recreational uses, so pickleball courts and tennis courts, as well as these would actually be synthetic turf soccer fields. So it's a higher quality soccer field that you don't have to necessarily wait. If there's a rain on Friday, you can be washed out of playing soccer on a Saturday, just because the way the soils, get muddy and bogged down. So this is just a high quality surface for recreation. Probably would have some lighting and fencing, but sort of be available for rentals. And then you see these little orange, almost like orange slices. These are what we're showing as like little playgrounds that are adjacent to the field. So if you've got a little kid, your young brother might be able to hang out on the slide and the swings while older brother and sister play soccer. And then up north here, we've got a maintenance facility. We expect some ongoing maintenance like lawn mowers and just general care for the park. This square here is not necessarily part of the master plan, but it would be a fire station that has already sort of been designated to be somewhere on this property. And then as we go to the south, this area was quite flat, prime for a use like parking and soccer fields very early on. We did look at maybe this being more natural area, but given that it's nature, a great area to provide multi-use soccer fields, that's sort of what we're showing here. And then to the sort of south edge where we've got the existing trees, we're showing, as Kristen mentioned, trail network. So a mix of walking trails with sort of bridges that cross the streams, but also you'll see this sort of dashed line would be mountain biking trails. And then at the terminus of that, we've got sort of like a pump track. So the size of this area, it would sort of be like a beginner mountain bike area, because it's just not something that is really offered in Graham. You have to go quite far to learn how to ride a bike. So this natural area sort of is perfect for that. And the pump track sort of feeds into that. Any questions? Yeah.
How many how many athletic fields?
7.
7. And is that enough to like, say, host like a, travel ball and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, when we discussed it with some of our athletic stakeholders, including a representative from Fusion joined the call too, and also sent in some information. They said anywhere from 5 to 7 fields would be great for tournament hosting.
Yeah, thank you for that question. That was one of the key stakeholder groups that Park staff identified sort of early on that we could sort of engage with and ask these questions, like who wants to come out here and rent these fields? And yeah, it's 5 to 7 or 4 to 6, somewhere in that range, would provide enough space to host like a big tournament.
Well, you know, getting the grant money to build something is, you know, something that is, yeah, a great step, but to be able to create something that generates revenue ongoing to maintain it is really something that I think the taxpayers want to see. And so I think, you know, that's why I was very adamant about having the, fire station, substation there, because you're gonna have to have EMS or, you know, someone there anyways for tournaments or for, you know, games and things that they're gonna have. What a great facility for the firemen to be able to utilize as well. But I think it serves like two purposes, so, I'm very happy to see that. I'd love to see more of what the adventure park would be. I like that picture, but is it just like kind of, is it zip lining or anything like that? Is it just like bridges from tree to tree, or tell me more about that?
We envisioned bridges and tree houses and really kind of making the play a little bit more adventurous, up higher off the ground. We wanted to make sure that it didn't have to be staffed in order to be played on all the time. So this is something that guests can just walk in and they can play at their own will.
So no
We-
zip lining then.
No, no zip
Okay.
lining right now. But then I also wanted to go back to you mentioning we wanted revenue generating, and we definitely took that into mind when we created a lot of this stuff too. You know, the pickleball courts could be hosted for tournaments. You've got the amphitheater, the covered pavilion can be rented out for various things as well as used for programming in-house. So we definitely kept that in mind when we were not only working with the community and park staff, and also wanting to make sure that we were providing some things for the community too.
We currently have a zip line over there, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that amphitheater, I mean, that covered pavilion, you said basketball, farmer's market, what else?
Concerts.
Yeah, I mean, it can be rented out for anything that the Parks and Rec
Wedding.
department, would want to be rented out for. If something needed to be moved in there because of a rain or impending weather, or just because it's hot outside, it's a shady, cooler area where programming could be done.
Last year, or last spring, when we were in Greenville, we went out to their new park. And they had a large covered pavilion. Actually, they had 2 of them.
And
They said they barbecue, cook-offs.
can you tell me a little bit about, the pump track? And then I had a question about food concessions.
Mhm.
Is there a place for food trucks or like a connectivity to be able to have food there for large events?
Yeah, definitely. Where the restrooms are located near the amphitheater area, it would also be a concession area, and also have some available food truck hookups.
Okay, perfect.
And we also thought that that could also take place near the covered pavilion too, in case an event was underneath that covered pavilion, and food trucks could also line up right there as well.
Yeah, I love that idea because
Mhm.
it can just be, you know, whatever you want,
Right,
right? You don't have to just get a hot dog.
right.
Okay, and then the pump track?
hmm Yeah, so the pump
I
track,
hate Joey's not here because that would have been his wheelhouse. His son did that for years and years and years, and
I think I
that-
remember him mentioning it.
yeah.
now.
He was very excited about that.
So yeah, I mean, the pump track, it could be dirt or it could be paved. Paved pump tracks are becoming very popular. Those could also be revenue generating depending on the pump track. You can hold pump track tournaments. They could be rented out for people to have a clinic to come in and teach kids, youth, or adults. That's kind of how they get used to mountain biking. So once they kind of master the pump track, they can then transfer that over to the beginner mountain bike course that would be provided there in the park as well. And then continue practicing there. And then if they want to move further out within Alamance County or travel a little bit further out from the county to get a little bit more difficult or advanced mountain biking trails, then they can do that too.
And so will we have to have staff over there for that? It's just all,
It's just, yep, it's come as you go. And lots of parks and recreation departments do that as well. It's just maintained. But for a tournament or a clinic, yes, that would be staffed. But just on its own, people can just walk up and use the pump track as they see fit.
it's the other reason I really like having the fire department there, because security at night, they're
Mhm.
24 hours staffed. They're there in case of emergencies or injuries or whatever, so.
And usually those groups, sort of bring their own sort of staff with them, organize it. They have an app system and, yeah, sort of self-police, because they're the experts. They're bringing their kids to learn how to mountain bike and stuff like that. I'll also add, you know, you're seeing probably a variety of active uses, that will help us with, you know, future grant funding. So, you know, you get different points for, you know, unique experiences, unique recreation elements. So we're certainly, you know, showing a lot of different things, but that'll help us, you know, get that grant funding if that's something you pursue, with sort of a phase one contract. I don't know if I've got too much more to show here. I just wanted to go through the schedule, but you know, we can still talk about the draft plan. Just showing you where we are tonight is sort of the end of the draft master plan phase. We'd request sort of any additional comments, you know, over the next sort of 2 weeks. If you want to send us an email, send it to Brian. We've got an upcoming monthly meeting with our park planning team on the 30th, and then we go back to the Recreation Commission, hopefully with a smoothed out plan that's drawn in CAD, a bit more accurate than the hand drawing you've seen. And then at the start of December, we'll be able to come back here and present that final plan. Any questions?
I believe we have a question from the audience.
Sure.
Could you go back a couple slides? The one that shows the geography.
Can you speak in the mic? I'm sorry. People say they can't hear it all when you don't.
Two fields, I think you said synthetic, they're over on the right-hand side.
Yes.
On an earlier slide, I think it said that was potential land. Is that the property that's on the agenda for later tonight? 1771 is,
Yes.
thank you.
Oh, we got another gentleman.
Okay, Randy Phillips, 130 Burton Street. I think it's a great idea and all. My question is, what about parking? And is there room for buses? Because for the tournaments and all, I know a lot of buses come in for that. Is there ample parking for all of this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, you know, what you're seeing is a very high level draft master plan. As you get into further develop these drawings in like schematic design and design development, that's when we really start sharpening our pencil, showing where bus loading, fire truck turnarounds are. The City of Graham's planning department will review those drawings, and they're going to be looking for all that stuff. This shows kind of a high level concept of things where they get let out, but I think we'll definitely have to keep that in consideration. You know, we've showed some turnarounds by the amphitheater. Maybe one of these parking areas, you know, ends up being, you know, we take out a couple spaces, and instead of 2 parking spaces, you get some pull through bus parking. We'll work with, you know, well, the designer that moves forward would work with the city to plan out those sort of areas. Yeah. Great question.
I'm curious what the response or need was for any
Could you
adaptive.
repeat your name and address, please?
Chelsea Dickey, I'm running for the mayor of Graham, 511
address?
Oakwood Lane in Graham. Adaptive sports, if they were requested at all from the community.
Yes, great question. We worked with our inclusive stakeholder group, and they gave us really a lot of information on how they would like to see the park accessible in the future. A lot of the programming, playgrounds. They wanted to make sure all the walking trails were accessible as well. They were wondering if it was going to be paved. And we let them know that, of course, we were going to take accessibility into, what's the word I'm looking? Yes, into consideration as we plan this moving forward. And then, as Michael mentioned, since this is kind of a higher level, once we dig down maybe a little bit deeper and you get into phasing the park and figuring out which items you guys would like to move forward with first, that would be something that the Parks and Recreation Department and the community would work towards, making sure that specific items might be accessible as they build out the park. Yeah.
Hey, Kristen, I'll add, the draft master plan that you're seeing is part of a master plan report. So a lot of that stuff is hard to draw at this scale. So that's where we're feeding in the accessibility components into the language of the report.
Thank you.
I think I saw a hand. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Pearl Ellis, and I'm from 2519 Trevana Way in Swepsonville. And I have a question regarding the pickleball and the tennis courts, because as you're aware, she's working with our town to build the pickleball courts, and I'm thinking, is there such a need for pickleball courts in this area with them not being able to fill the ones in Burlington?
Thanks. That's a great question. I think we've seen pickleball just explode across the whole of North Carolina, whether it be at the beach in the Piedmont and Raleigh and to the mountains. So we see a continuing desire from municipalities. We've heard different scenarios where some are rentable, some are not. I think this just provides another opportunity. We're not showing the whole thing being pickleball. We're trying to show a mix so you don't get those conflicts where you have to kick off the pickleballers off the tennis court and then you get sort of a rift in the community. We're trying to provide ample opportunity. I think there may be more community engagement that comes with that first phase. If people are really opposed to it, I just, from what I've seen in the recent, like sort of last 10 years, it's just pickleball, you can't get enough. So, but I think the city could talk to the needs further.
Yeah, I would add too that in the first plan, we had just tennis courts only. And then we had many people come and say, well, where are the pickleball courts? So we split it up and made half of it tennis and half of it permanent pickleball courts.
But if you were going to have a pickleball tournament, those tennis courts could be used as pickleball.
They could be, yes.
Right. And likewise, a tennis tournament, you can turn the pickleball. No.
Not as easily, no.
Not as easily. Okay.
Yeah,
You
but
can
there
really
are,
do both ways.
right, but there are tennis courts at other Graham parks. And so there were not any permanent pickleball courts at any other Graham parks as of now.
So you're an avid pickleball
Yes.
person.
Yeah.
Won many awards,
Yes, I try.
tournaments. What would you say your take on why Burlington has struggled to fill those courts?
Well, I think they've since changed it, but in the beginning, I think they were charging outside residents a fee, if I'm correct. I think since then they've backed up on that. And now it might be free for now because they weren't seeing the amount of people come out and play that they were hoping. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to stay like that because that is a third party managing those courts. The Parks and Recreation Department, even though they own it, they don't run those courts. So it was difficult for them to get people to come out there. So that would be one nice thing is that this park, it's free. Anyone could just walk up and play pickleball. And that wasn't always the case in Burlington.
So, like being able to get a court and going around in this area.
Mhm.
I know you live in Greensboro, right?
Yeah.
Right. Do you think that there is that demand here?
Oh, definitely. There's only 16 permanent pickleball courts that are free in the city of Greensboro. The county has 10 of them, and the city only has 6. Everywhere else, it's either a private swim tennis club situation. So you have to pay a fee. And there are paddles stacked. You could be waiting 30 minutes to get back on a court after your next game. And that's not really ideal when you're coming after work and you just want to get some exercise and have some fun. So yeah, I mean, pickleball is here to stay for now. So I think splitting that tennis courts to pickleball was a good idea.
I see a lot of them on cruise ships now.
Yeah.
So they're not going to spend the money to put them on cruise ships if they're just a
Right.
fan. It's pretty expensive to put them on a cruise ship. So, okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Okay, no action needed on this, but appreciate the presentation. Board of Adjustment, legal assistance. City Council will consider request to provide legal assistance to the Board of Adjustment. And I would just say that there's a Board of Adjustment meeting coming up, and even though we have 2 very qualified attorneys that represent us, they can't legally, to my understanding, represent the Board of Adjustment. So I would like to see about having someone represent the Board of Adjustment and have somebody there for those meetings in the event, well, really to make sure that they're doing everything legally correct and that the city is protected as far as the process and the procedure. So I think it's important, just like it's important to have them here. I think it's important for, the people that sit on that Board of Adjustment are residents just like us, and they don't have legal expertise. And there's a lot of legal elements in proving those cases. And so I think the board members would feel more comfortable having an attorney, the advice of an attorney there. So just want to put that out to the council and
Would that
the-
lawyer be on like a retainer,
no, it would just be for, I think, special,
just when they?
yeah. I mean, we've had like 1 all year, right, Megan? I mean, I'll say in the last 4 years, we've had 2.
Yeah, Board of Adjustment, they don't usually meet that often. You probably average 1 or 2 a year at the most. But I guess if the question from staff to council, are we reaching out to someone to Councilman Shan's point, are we getting someone that we would use?
And I'd love it
Me?
if we could reach out to our previous city attorney.
Still waiting a call back. I did get a better number. I did get
Okay.
a better number, but we do have another option of another firm that we can reach out to if I don't hear back from him.
Okay.
So
I'm just saying he's very familiar with Graham and was our previous city attorney. And yeah, I know he's retired, but it's not like you'd be asking him to come every month or anything. It'd be, can you show up once a year or whatever?
well, we
Um,
definitely want to make sure we have someone in place for at least this upcoming one. Then we'll get the rest of it worked out in the event that we need to have someone on a continuous basis, so.
So I'd like to make a motion that we, provide that assistance to them.
How much money does that cost us?
Well, I don't know.
Do
It's
that. I
gonna
mean-
depend on what that is, but
I mean,
On retainer, obviously, they're gonna have a set amount that they would expect. Otherwise, it would be, per hour, basis. In this case right here, I guess it doesn't matter from the standpoint of, we just wanna make sure we get someone in place so that, because we don't really have that much time. The meeting's are a month away, so we wanna secure someone at least for that. And then if we can get something more concrete for y'all to consider going forward, then we'll come back with that, if that was what council would like.
I mean, I just was wondering where the money comes from, for that. I mean, does it have to be
Robbing the bank right down the street here.
a budget amendment or something? I mean, are we talking about putting somebody on permanent retainer and then we're paying for that?
no, I don't think so.
I will
That's
just
not
say
what
there
I'm
hasn't,
proposing.
there haven't been any funds allocated for this. So if that's something that city council wants to do, we would likely require a budget amendment to bring forward to city council in November.
Would you like to speak?
Madam Mayor, Council, I've come before the council. I think this is my third or fourth time requesting representation for the Board of Adjustments. The Board of Adjustments, I think we've had one meeting in the last 24 months, 18 months. We've got some members that's never actually sit on a Board of Adjustments meeting at all that will be getting broken in November, I think, if that's on the calendar at that time. And I think that's a really sticking point with new people. You can only consider evidence that's presented to you that night in front of you, the sworn testimony. And some of the newer people may not understand that. And I want to make sure that whatever lines that we have put in front of us, that we can stay between the lines and not cross the lines. And I think we've got a very good board and a lot of experience, but we've got some inexperienced people that's also on that board who's never sit for one of the meetings. And not to single anyone out specifically, but Mr. Bailey, I think he's only sit for one, and he's been on the board 5, 6, 7
Yeah.
years. He's only sit for one that I can remember. So I think it would be an asset to the board and potentially save the city down the road.
Yeah, and I think sitting down and explaining to board members questions they can ask and questions they need to, like just the process, they need to understand the process of, you can't ask certain questions. It's just like, when you're hiring somebody, there's limits to what you can ask and what evidence you can hear. You're not supposed to take into consideration how somebody, feels about something. If someone says, well, this is going to affect my property value, you can't consider that unless they're an appraiser. These are like legal requirements. It's much more like a court of law than it is just like the hearings that we've heard earlier tonight. It's more of like the special use, 6 elements that you have to prove. And, most typically, I would say 99% of the time, the other party is represented by an attorney, and they're trying to gather evidence in order to sue the city if they don't get the result that they want. And so I do think I do agree with Dean that it's prudent for those members to have counsel and have advice of counsel to keep them out of trouble or saying something that attorney on the other side could then use against the city and say, well, they based their decision on something that they're not supposed to base their decision on, and so we were not treated fairly. And it ends up in a lawsuit. And they, that resident doesn't want to put the city in a liability, but, you only know what you know. And, if he doesn't, none of them have legal training. So I do agree that these Board of Adjustments are much more serious than just like a planning board meeting.
Well, a planning board meeting, the staff attorneys here would be appropriate for it.
Yeah,
But the Board of Adjustment, I mean, if we make the wrong decision, it's not coming to the council. The next stop is Superior Court.
right. So they just don't need to say things that they're not, or do things that could, potentially put the city of Graham in a libelous situation. And again, I don't think it's a very long hearing typically, so I can't imagine that the cost would be that much. And I think the potential liability for what that could cost us is far greater than what paying an attorney for 2 hours would cost. And they can't represent them because they represent the city. So, I agree that it needs to be done, but, certainly we're at I'm just one vote, so.
Madam Mayor, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I sat on the planning board and Board of Adjustments for 12 years. And we've had some cases that could have gone either way. And, like you said, if you're not, if you don't understand the rules of engagement, and the information that you collect, you can get, the city in a heap of trouble.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve, legal assistance for the Board of Adjustments. Do I hear a second?
I second your motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Public comment period. Chelsea Dickey would like to address the council.
Thank you, guys. Chelsea Dickey, 511 Oakwood Lane, Graham. We had a lot more people here earlier, and my comment was early voting starts on Thursday, and that's really exciting. And 5 of the 6 candidates are here tonight, so they had an opportunity to talk to us. I guess I'm talking to the people online joining us, but we're here. We're excited to serve the city. I'm running for the mayor of Graham, and we look forward to seeing you at early voting.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody else here to speak? Okay, city staff, have anything, Megan? Have anything, Aaron? Have anything? Bob, Brian? What about you? Okay, city council, anything?
Yes, I had the unpleasant opportunity of having EMS and the fire department come out to my mother-in-law's house, and our firefighters and EMS done such a wonderful job. They kept us informed. Not only did one EMS truck, we had 5 of them sitting in the road, plus the big fire truck. So I and my family cannot thank them enough.
They're always important to be there when you need them, right? I'll never forget when my son got hurt, my trampoline. Nobody should own a trampoline, but everybody came. I mean, I'm talking about the UPS guy. I was like, good Lord. I mean, that shows that you live in a small community, because literally the postman was there. I guess they had those back then. They had the scanners, but I mean, fire department, EMS, and everybody. And it does put you at ease. And I wish your mother-in-law
She's
good health.
she's made a large turnaround from Friday night. She's actually up walking now, which
That's awesome.
that's a major feat in itself. She knows
Time that out, right?
she knows my wife and my daughter and her husband. So those are the 3 important people in her life. So like I said, we can't say enough of the kindness, the people or the EMS, staff. They came out and explained it to what was going on in layman's terms. So you didn't have to pull out your dictionary, figure out what they were talking about. They were very calm when they talked to us. The whole, when they were working on her, were very calm. So that was reassuring for us.
That's awesome. You want to get up and give some good news about Cardiff?
So the city applied for a Partif grant to be reimbursed for the purchase of the tier property to expand Bill Cook Park. That came back in late August. We were awarded that grant for $307,750. So contract should be executed sometime in hopefully the next couple of weeks, and we'll have a nice big check coming to the city.
And what about another grant?
Absolute, oh, another grant?
Yeah.
Graham Regional.
Yeah, we're getting a couple steps ahead,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's coming. As long as you
It's been
guys,
applied.
What that is,
as long as you guys do the right thing come December.
but that is 7. Don't you have them out
For
for the Graham Regional?
the purchase of that land?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, okay.
no,
But you already had that.
no,
Okay.
just one
Are-
at a time.
I thought there was like a grant that you just got.
That was for the tier property at Bill Cook Park.
No, I know that one.
Yeah,
But I thought there was another one.
no. Tier property was the last one.
Okay. Okay, and then, I just wanted to mention that. Thank you so much. And then, we do have our local legislators going back to try to get 22 million for Tropical Storm Chantal. You saw we did a budget amendment earlier today to make some repairs to our water systems. And, as a result of damage that we suffered. And then hopefully we'll know something by December for that. I think Aaron's been on the phone trying to figure out, how we can get the money that was awarded between Orange and Alamance County, right? You're working on that still?
We're trying to get every penny that's available, so
Yep.
we're working on it.
So we were awarded that, I think that's 32 million for infrastructure repairs to be split between Orange and Alamance. And then,
Mayor, excuse me, 22 million you referred to, that's just for Graham,
that's for Graham, Mebane, and Haw River.
the 22,
Mm-hmm,
then 32 split between the two counties.
mm-hmm, yes. And, then we have a fall festival this weekend, from 10 to 4, tent sales all day, live music. Car cruise in starts at 4. And then Dr. Captain and the Fleet starts at 7. And then don't forget Veterans Day, November the 8th. And
Pumpkin Bash.
yeah, and Pumpkin Bash as well.
Mayor, I have something else to say.
Sure.
This is directed to Chief Cole. Paul Krotz brought to my attention that when he was down at the coast, he saw one of the fire departments that took, I guess, what had been their ladder truck and converted it into a utility vehicle. Have you given that some thought with
Councilmember,
hours?
if I may jump in here, this was an item of discussion that City Council discussed at our December work session. Yep, so Chief Cole has been working with different parties to identify potential uses
So we-
to
okay.
repurpose that. Yes, that was one item that was identified.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So he's investigating the repurposing.
That is correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, our Mr. Crotts was wondering, we had. So that's good to know.
Anybody?
Just we have Halloween trick or treating coming up, so a lot of kids will be out and about for Halloween. Please look out for them. Everybody have a safe and happy Halloween. So.
And I know I said I didn't have anything earlier, but if I can jump back in time for just a minute. I do want to point out that the November City Council meeting is not on the 11th because that is the Veterans Day holiday. So in your adopted schedule, it is Tuesday, November 4th.
Election day.
That is
Election day.
correct.
Seriously?
Seriously.
It's always on election day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of Veterans Day. And my son's born on November 11th. I tell him we throw a parade in his honor every year. He appreciates that.
No doubt.
Okay, well, I think that's it. We'll be going into, the city council will consider going into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A5 to consider the purchase of 1771 North Jim Minor Road in Haw River, parcel ID number 152551, owned by Thomas and Linda Stewart, adjacent to Graham Regional Park for the intended use of a park and recreational facilities, and to discuss two potential litigation matters in accordance with North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A3. Need a motion to go into closed session?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we go into closed session.
Yes. Can I hear a second? All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Mayor.
How many what? I think it's 10. Yeah, right at, a little bit over 10, sir.
Let's go take care of business.
Wait, on you.
My bad.
You holding this stuff? I'll reach out to them.
Because the original 100 acres, 115, something like that. Yeah, it was bought with state money.
Yeah.
It has, or whatever, it has to always stay in recreation use unless they approve. So in order, and if they approve, then you have to buy equivalent land, I'll say, yeah. So,
And it looks like what you're buying was like larger than.
yeah, it's only on 3.5. Yeah. Don't quote me now. So,
Yeah.
but I think that's what they, have penciled off in the drawing. And Stewart property is 10 acres. Tommy May could tell you what exactly it is needed for a fire station. But that's bigger than that. Is it? Okay.
It was very. Good to see you.
The
One way.
turnaround too, or there was a secondary entrance for this one down here? No.
It was one way.
Oh,
Come in from Moore Street, go out on Rose, I believe.
well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, in one way and out the other. This is, obviously, they had needed acreage to turn the truck around and come in the backside, because they can't do what they do out here, what they used to do out here, back it in the road. They can't do that out there, I wouldn't think. Yes.
The plan presentation looked great.
Yeah, I'm excited
Congratulations.
about it.
I know we talked through it, but they did a good job.
Yeah, it came together
Yeah.
nicely, I think.
Yeah.
And
Good deal.
we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah. We'll see. All right.
Yep.
Sounds good.
That's
see you. Right.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
We'll see you guys.
All right. They don't need you, want you for this section?
I guess whatever the two potential litigation matters.
Oh, well, they.
I can't go in there
Can't
for
be there for
that. Which last time I didn't even pay any attention. I just thought, it's like, oh, my turn. We walk on in there. Like, can I be first?
Yeah.
Why? Why I gotta sit here for a while longer? So I guess they didn't care then, they don't care now. And two of them this time, we might be here forever. Did learn. Thank you. We're still learning how to navigate social organization. We get out of that. What the curriculum change through about for on the change clearly defined power of the church there. So Kyle Crawford. There's no such standard in English in our society in North Carolina. The North Carolina standard, L.8001, requires command of attention in English grammar. Our website, PTS, says we make here the North Carolina state standard. I looked through board records. I did not see a board vote that approved any such deviation. So my question is, the director made out of the board's approval? Are we making changes to the board's work in first grade where pronouns are originally introduced? And then I also asked clarity to our director. I think we provide a specific example of they and pronouns into a reference through positive and positive. No response was provided. Did I get one? Teaching singular they and pronouns automatically correct kids standards. I would say it's gender ideology, essentially indoctrination. I called and I spoke with our senator's office, Senator Amy King, support of our effort. She has sponsored a bill, Senate Bill 227, that'll be read October 20th, eliminating multi-AI K-12 public education and removing divisive concepts from our educational system. The teaching of pronouns outside the North Carolina standard is not educationally necessary. Secondly, on punishment, the director wrote to me in writing, employees are entitled to be referred to by the name and pronouns of their choice. I understand and respect bias, but that doesn't mean compelling speech. There's a couple Senate cases on this, so the Supreme Court case, the West Virginia State Board of Education for Barnett and Meriwether for Hartog, both ruled that pronoun mandates do infringement on free speech by compelling ideological conformity. In addition, the state of North Carolina for driver's license only references binary male, female. There are no other pronouns referenced driver's license. I proposed a solution and I was told, well, you're not happy. So lastly goes to leadership. I asked these questions in dialogue. I asked to meet in person. I asked for a phone call. It was only through email. He didn't send it to me in person. But I was advised, I have been advised not to continue engaging with you. If you are not satisfied, you're welcome to enroll your children in another school. I asked for a meeting. I let them all out tonight. This flips the third parent like myself. Well, the third parent, the absolute third. So tell us what I want to do. So is this the leadership we need at Clover Garden at the highest level? Or is this the message we send our students? Get out of here. Is this why we are losing good teachers? Lots of good teachers at CPS because they're not performing. Is this why we're losing good families? I know our charter is up for review. I appreciate your review.
Darcy.
Oh, that's right.
Your luncheon and rec.
Man, Tom, you're dedicated.
Pretty good.
Oh, yeah, it's nice restaurant downtown.
Good.
Is it Williams?
A debate? Oh, that's kind of cool. I reckon. Yeah, she's still talking. I don't think she realized we all left yet. Like in another 10-minute recess or something that I didn't know about. Where did she go? Oh, maybe. So I'm formally giving him to you for your desk for Halloween. Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to bring him for, one night, so.
I'll make it like this.
Whew. Lord.
Bless you.
Gesundheit. Did you get any on you?
Are y'all decorating your office? Megan, are you decorating your office for Halloween? Or y'all have a contest?
Not a,
Madam Mayor, I make a motion, we, come into open session.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.